Hey guys, it's Philip McKernan. I just want to kick off with a quote from Winston Churchill. The further backward you can look, the farther forward you will see. That quote actually was sent to me by somebody recently, and it's really interesting. It's got me thinking about the whole notion of just constantly focusing on the future, which most people do. They don't see the merits, they're scared of looking in the past, they think it's a waste of time, etc. And I have a quote that talks about, it basically says the past has created the present and the present is creating the future. In other words, everything you've been through, every circumstance you've had, every person you've come in contact with has dictated who you are today. Who you are today, every thought process, every ability or inability to get in touch with your intuition, every action or every inaction is dramatically affecting and will basically ultimately dictate the rest of your life. So the past has created the present and your present is creating your future. So if you want to really understand how you behave, if you want to really understand why you've ended up with what you've ended up with today, albeit I appreciate there's some very, very good things, but also some challenges in there as well. Don't look at the future. Don't keep looking at the future and assuming it's just all going to work out. What you should do is look back and start to understand and identify some of the patterns and some of the reasons that you behave the way you do today. I think one of the best things to do is illustrate this maybe with a story. I'll try and abbreviate and try and make this kind of quick. But a lady came to one of my experiences, and one of the challenges she found was bringing in money into her life, bringing in income. And of course, at the core, in many circumstances in our lives, we actually fundamentally believe that we're broken. We don't think it necessarily. Again, understand the difference between thinking and believing or feeling, is that she felt at the core she was broken. She felt that she wasn't a good marketeer when it came to selling her product, selling her business, and ultimately selling herself. She needed to go and understand how to work Twitter or Facebook and everything else better than she could. And it's interesting, her single biggest challenge when she came to me was actually how to derive income selling her product and selling her concept and selling her business, which, by the way, is a huge kind of secondary offshoot of what I do. A lot of what I do is ultimately working on yourself personally, and a kind of a byproduct of that is actually you performing your business secondary, because our personal journeys, our personal circumstances, our images of ourselves has such a huge impact in our business, and that's the piece that a lot of people don't get. Anyway, back to the story. So what became apparent to me, not necessarily to her, was she had a really quirky relationship with money, as a lot of people do. It turns out that, long story short, I'm not doing the story a lot of justice in this video here necessarily, but it's really designed to illustrate a point. She actually hated money. She actually hated money, everything to do with money. She didn't just hate money. She hated people with money. She hated people that had a value around money. She hated people who wanted money. So not just was it showing up financially in her life, it was showing up emotionally, because she didn't have any kind of intimate relationships and so on. And when she found out that the person she maybe was interested in intimately or in a more personal relationship was into money, well, then that created a block in between that person and herself anyway, emotionally. So this was causing havoc in her life. But here's the kicker. Here's the huge thing for you to consider. And I've really simplified the story. It's not obviously quite as simple as that. But how does a woman, a very smart, very intellectual, very clever, very grounded lady, walk through this earth for 30, 40, I'm assuming, I don't want to insult her, but if she, I think 40 years of age or approximately, for 40 years, thinking she's broken, thinking she's not good at marketing, thinking that there's some issue with her business, thinking that her product is not good enough, thinking this, but in actual fact, ultimately feeling and having a huge charge, emotional charge against money. Now, she would never, ever have known that unless she turned about and looked at her past and start joining some of those dots. Now with that newfound awareness and understanding, now she can look forward and start to plan and maybe start to goal set and so on and so forth, that that's what she wants to do. That's just one simple illustration, and I can give you many, of how powerful it is to turn about, look at your past, see how it has created and actually molded and crafted who you are today. And who you are today is ultimately, whether you like it or not, is dictating your future. So for those of you who just believe in looking forward and not looking back, I believe the people who just constantly look forward and refuse to look back are actually blind. Thank you.